Fumio Kishida Liberal Democratic the 49th general election of members of the House of Representatives. It will be the first general election in the Reiwa era, marking the end of the 9-year Shinzo Abe era and a controversial Suga cabinet. Under the post-occupation interpretation of Article 7 of the Constitution, the cabinet may instruct the emperor to dissolve the House of Representatives for a snap election. Elections must be held within 40 days after dissolution. The only time in post-war history that the House of Representatives was not dissolved before the end of its term was in 1976. If the House of Representatives completes a full 4-year term, the election must be held within 30 days before that, unless the Diet is invoked, in session or about to be closed at the time. The current term is set to end on the 21st of October. An extraordinary session of the National Diet is necessary in early October to elect a new Prime Minister. Depending on when that Diet session closes and if and when the new cabinet dissolves the House of Representatives, possible election dates range from late October to the 14th of November without dissolution or up to 28 November with dissolution. If the election is held in late October or November, the 2021 election would be the first in post-war history to be held not only at, but after the actual end of term. On the 4th of October, new Prime Minister Fumio Kishida scheduled the election for the 31st of October, with dissolution of the House of Representatives on the 14th of October. The final day of the extraordinary Diet session and campaigning set to begin on the 19th of October. With the 2020 resignation of Shinzo Abe from his position as Prime Minister due to health issues, speculation rose of the possibility that a snap election would be held before the end of the full term, but this did not happen. Before the resignation announcement of Yoshihide Suga in 2021, the government did consider a plan to hold a general election on the 17th of October. Several days before the expiration of the 4-year term for House of Representatives members, government sources said on the 30th of August following the 2017 general election, the Liberal Democratic Party continued to find itself in a dominant position as Prime Minister. Shinzo Abe led the party to a third consecutive victory, the first for a single Prime Minister since 1953. While the LDP's strong showing seemed to suggest momentum for Abe's long-held goal of revising the anti-war Article 9 of the Constitution, the prospect for revision was thwarted due to procedural obstacles in the Diet from opposition parties and the ruling coalition losing its 2/3 majority in the House of Councillors in the 2019 election. Abe's approval ratings suffered in 2018 as several favoritism scandals dominated media coverage. However, he was still re-elected as president of the LDP in September 2018 and became the longest-serving prime minister in Japanese history on the 19th of November 2019 and the longest-serving consecutive prime minister on the 24th of August 2020. However, Abe shocked observers when he announced on the 28th of August 2020 that he would resign the premiership due to a sudden resurgence of his ulcerative colitis. Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshihide Suga was elected the next president of the LDP in September 2020 and succeeded Abe as prime minister days later. Meanwhile, Japan's many opposition parties remained fractured and disunited. The Constitutional Democratic Party, seeking to establish itself as the primary center-left opposition party against the LDP, merged with majorities of the Democratic Party for the People and the Social Democratic Party as well as several independent lawmakers in late 2020, officially reorganizing as a new party while retaining the same name and Yukio Edano as leader. Tokyo Governor Yuriko Koike's National Party Kibo no To was dissolved in May 2018 after it merged with the Democratic Party to form the Democratic Party for the People, while Koike herself was re-elected in a landslide in 2020 as an independent. The period since 2017 also saw the creation of Reiwa Shinsengumi, a left-wing populist party formed by former actor Taro Yamamoto, whose central policy position is abolition of the consumption tax. While beginning office relatively popular, Prime Minister Suga's approval ratings gradually worsened due to public dissatisfaction over his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, including Japan's slow vaccine rollout compared to the rest of the developed world, and his management of the delayed 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games. The LDP lost 3 diet by-elections in April 2021 and also failed to win an outright majority in the Tokyo Metropolitan Assembly election in July despite winning the most seats. Analysts attributed the losses to Suga's low approval ratings. When the Olympics were eventually held in July to August 2021, public sentiment rose as Japanese athletes secured a record haul of Olympic medals. However, this did not translate into an upturn in Suga's personal ratings as the event